Let's talk about taxes. Did Donald Trump need to pay taxes last year? Well, did he drive around, use our roads, use our programs? Uh, yes, he should have paid taxes, but he did not. And it brings us to an old question with really only one answer that makes sense to me, and that is this. A 30% tax. If you make $1 million a year, or you make $1,000 a year, it would be uh, fair, and it would be the similar financial burden for us to pay 30% across the board. No questions asked. There's no loopholes. There's no nothing. Every time that you make $1, you owe 30 cents to the federal government. And in the old John Keynes theory of trickle-down economics, they can trickle down 10% to the state, and then on a locality level, we could take a real look at maybe doing crowdfunding or instituting some kind of locality tax. I hate to say a toll, but have people come up at the end of the year knowing that they owe $100 or whatever it is, 5% of their income, and to go ahead and apply that. I think a lot of it would get alleviated really with the US4HOPE campaign at all the sporting events. If we could take that into account, I think a lot of times if we had a project, just say locally here, the Charlie Sanders Memorial Fund, we could organize that through the schools, through the sports teams, and sort of take the burden off the politicians in town, who sometimes drag their feet a little bit, and that's fine, as long as we get it done and do it in a fashion that is comparable, to other memorials that are in town. That some of them were self-paid for, and I understand that. Some people are able to do that. I think that as a community, though, to pay homage or to memorialize someone who contributed as a citizen to a community is much different. So I think that we need to make it something that would attract children, something that could be seen by a great number of people, so that they could learn our story here of amazing people who passed away, but contributed so much to our towns and our schools. With that said, on a 30% tax, the federal government would make, with 155 million working Americans who produce $7,750,000,000,000 a year at $50,000 a year. To go through and ask for a 30% tax would give the federal government a revenue of $2,100,225,000,000. And like I said, 10% of that can be passed down to the state. Federal government keeps the rest of it. I think it's more fair. I think it's simpler. I think that you're going to shrink the IRS a little bit because there's not going to be a lot of the paperwork. There's none of the loopholes. You don't need to have statisticians come in to do your taxes. It's real simple. They take 30 cents out of every dollar. It goes up there and it doesn't come back. There's no tax refunds at the end of the year, none of that. I think it would be a great idea. You could have options for savings accounts if you do depend on that tax rebate check at the end of the year. But we're not going to hand out blind money, which is what I call it. When you have people who have children who work minimally and are able to make these outlandish head of household claims and lie about their dependents and stuff like that, and at the end of the year, a 20-year-old single girl with a couple of kids gets back $10,000. You have to sort of scratch your head when someone who works, 6 days a week, 7 days a week gets back $1,000. It seems like you're incentivizing people to do sketchy things, questionable things. But what we will do is we will continue on. The U.S. for Changes message for me is a fair tax, 30% across the board. Make Donald J. Trump pay his taxes, and God bless America.